Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very, very special guest here for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia Jett. I run Stars Align. It is a program for holistic healers to grow their businesses in alignment with their values and integrity. And I'm calling in from Eureka, California, where the redwoods meet the ocean.
Great. And I know you're eager to talk about it. So tell me about your past, your extended past leading up into your future, or your present. Sorry.
I'd be happy to. So when I grew up in San Francisco, and I felt like I just didn't fit in. When I was 13, I was going to Catholic school, and I ended up hanging out in the Haight-Ashbury district, which is famous for, hippies, the Grateful Dead, the 1960s tie-dye, etc. When I got there, it was, it's just a place where runaways ended up. And I ended up getting really into alcohol, and it was kind of just a downward spiral for me for a long time. And by the time I was 17, I was living in Golden Gate Park. I managed to graduate high school third on the honor roll, which is kind of amazing. But so the thing is at that point, I had departed everything that I was learning from my family. And I come from a nice family, but I just didn't feel like I fit in. And so I tried this different route. And I decided that everything with this other route is completely normal, and I normalized all of it. Now the thing is it wasn't healthy, but I didn't realize that. I mean, the first time where I had a spiritual awakening, I was 23 years old, and I was sleeping in a bridge, under a bridge in Tacoma, and I had rats running over my sleeping bag. And I had this thought, like, I don't want to wake up one day when I'm 50 years old and have to go panhandle up a half pint of Taka. The thing is I hadn't learned any other way to live yet. So I kept doing that until I physically couldn't anymore. And by the time that had happened, a lot of other things had happened too. I'd moved off the streets. I'd learned how to surf, totally changed my life. But let's not talk all about surfing. I can do that at another time. So I learned how to surf. And once I did that, I realized, oh my goodness, like, I want something more. Like I have this thing that I actually want to live and do. And I wasn't feeling so much negativity anymore. And so I started looking at ways to shift my life. And well, I wanted to be a healer. So I looked at all these different options for certifications, and I landed on massage. Now, when you go to massage school, they teach you amazing techniques, and you learn all of these incredible things about spirituality and the human body and healing, but nobody teaches you really how to run a business. So what happened is, once I got out of massage school, I managed to quit drinking the first time. And well, it was an accident the way I fell into being an entrepreneur. I thought that I was walking into a job interview, and the next thing I know, I'm shaking a chiropractor's hand and he's congratulating me on my first business. Now, I thought that I was just going to work for him. He would pay me. It would be that easy. And at the same time, this was an opportunity that I really didn't want to lose. And I mean, nothing's really by accident. I believe life is very divinely purposed. And I mean, everything that I had gone through in my past, everything that I know now that I had chosen, it didn't feel like that at the time. But all of those choices that I made in my past that brought me to that moment, I had this belief that this was what I wanted to do. This was where I'm meant to be. So I decided to try it. Now, the thing is I had no idea how to do marketing. I had no idea how to get clients in there, or the clients who came, I had no idea how to ask them to come back. I had no idea what to charge. And the whole thing was, it was honestly just kind of a scary process for me. But the thing is that I knew that I had something that I wanted to share with people. I knew that I had something important, and I knew that I made a difference in people's lives. So instead of shutting down, because that's truly where I was headed, sometimes I would leave work to go work for massage apps. I'd leave the office that I'm paying for to go to somebody's house to give them a massage. And it started to feel kind of pointless. So instead of going that route and giving up altogether, I hired somebody to guide me so that I could have a successful practice. And where that really started, I mean, it really started in my mindset. You know, there's so many things laid over from my past that weren't serving me anymore. And I wasn't even noticing them. The thing is we can have this blinder over everything that's going on in our in our past, the things that happened. I mean, just as an example, the things that happened from when we're 0 to 8 years old, that's what creates our unconscious belief system. And so the programming that we're working from in our day-to-day lives is the can be the programming of an 8-year old. And it's probably best if we look at what's going on in our unconscious mind, look at what our programming is, and decide if it's still serving us. So that's where I really got the first opportunity to really look at how my programming is working in my life and whether or not I wanted to keep it that way. The decision, of course, was that I wanted to change it. And luckily, I had the guidance to help me there. So it was more for me than just growing a business. It was growing freedom, really, because I didn't just get the freedom of entrepreneurship and getting to choose what hours I was working. I got the freedom of serenity, of getting a new state of mind. And that grew more so as I left San Francisco during COVID, because I mean, I couldn't work anymore. And I moved to Humboldt County, California, which is inundated with healers. We have so many healers here. It's incredible. But when I first moved here, in fact, I didn't want to move here for a long time because I was so scared of the competition. And once I got here, I realized, you know, I'm going to need to meet people because I only knew 3 people here. And so, you know, feet to pavement, I met all sorts of different healers that I could create connections with. And we could pull each other up. You know, there's so many new factors coming in 2020 to do with how we could run our businesses, how we could move forward. And a lot of people had dropped out. And so it was an excellent time to create new connections. And it turned out a lot of the things that I was most scared of were the things that pulled me up and created a 6-figure business in a year and a half with me only working 3 days a week in my private practice. Now, what I really noticed is that I started out in a small office, but once I was able to raise my rates with confidence without feeling selfish, I was able to create a higher service, like a higher level of service for my clients. And I think that's a part that a lot of healers get really stuck on. And that was a big inspiration for me as a business coach for healers now, because a lot of us might feel as though it's kind of a race to the bottom. Why would somebody want to pay more for your healing work than somebody else who's really cheap? The thing is there's nothing more expensive than healing that doesn't heal. There's nothing more expensive than a healing than something that's supposed to be healing but ends up hurting, or working with somebody who really, like, it's cheap for a reason, you know? There's those of us who, when we're well funded, we can show up for our clients at a higher level. And even if we've been through tremendous amounts of trauma, there's still plenty of opportunity to rise above, to be successful. We don't have to be dragged down by our trauma. We can go up to the next level. We can elevate. We can have big dreams. And I'll tell you what, if I had known at any point in my past that, well, what was possible for me, I would have started dreaming bigger way longer ago, you know, because there was, for so long, I had such a small perspective of the world and where I fit into it. I mean, just from that moment when I was 23 and I didn't see anything else possible for me, to where I get to be now, where I've had this 6-figure business where I get to heal people, and then I also get to heal healers and their relationship with money and business, because in so many
What is
ways,
your strategy? What is your strategy when you're healing people? What do you do when you first start off?
when I first start off with healing people or when I work with healers.
Yeah, that is the question. And how many steps towards, you know, the official, you know, healization do you go? Like, do you have 3 sessions, 6 sessions? Do you use crystals? Do you use smell good items? Like, what do you do to heal them other than massage?
For that, I'm just a massage therapist
Okay.
for the healing process. And I mean,
Sort of
that
like an actual acupuncture type thing where you know all the muscle systems and you just heal using that, the muscular body.
well, the thing about healing is that there's no healer who is really a healer. I mean, this is just an easy way to talk about healing. The thing is that the person who's on the table is the person doing the healing. What I'm doing is just showing their body the way. And everybody's different. And everybody is going to need a different form or a different amount of sessions or a different kind of healing. Everybody has different goals. Some people just want to come in and feel better after one session. Some people might have had something going on for a long time, and it helps them to come in every week for months. There's one person where I saw him every week for months, and then after a while he said, "You know what? I don't feel pain anymore." And then he walked out my door. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to get to. I want people to feel that healing so that they can move forward in their lives.
Is it also spiritual with you? Do you study different parts of the muscular system or the muscular body portions? Like, what is your like? I get it, you're a massage therapist, but like when you heal people, do you do it like acupuncture where you find different parts, like you ask them, hi, my lower back hurt because I've been working out a lot, can you help heal me and massage my lower back? And you say, well, I can do that, and you find the pressure points of that, that muscular and bone structure system. Like, how do you do it?
Um, well, it's massage. So, yeah, you would just go to the part that hurts. Sometimes it's connected to other parts of the body. So, it would be a matter of palpating whatever part of, you know, it's different on everybody. There's not really a set structure.
Okay, okay. And I wanted to go back to your story where you were saying you had quit alcohol abruptly.
Mhm.
What was your force in quitting? Like, did you say, you know what, forget this, I am going to school, I want to go to massage school, or did I skip something in between there?
Um, that's not what happened. So I went to massage school and I was still drinking really heavily the whole time. When I got out of massage school, I was still in alcoholism, very much so, and my body started to break down. I also had two friends that year die, and I've had a lot of friends pass away. That's just what happens when you hang out in that lifestyle. But I had a lot of friends pass away. But that particular year, I had a friend who was 28 and a friend who was 32, both die of acute alcoholism with their insides filling with fluid and their families pulling the plug at the hospital, and and then and then midway through that year, I found out that I had that my liver was swollen, and I had also gotten a concussion and a dislocated rib. So it's one of those moments where you realize that perhaps this sort of death isn't so glamorous, and you might want to make some lifestyle changes. So that's exactly what I did. And I mean, that's only the first time that I quit drinking. And I mean, I don't do anything anymore, and it's entirely freeing. I remember I had a lot of resistance to like stop smoking weed. Who are you to tell me that? Thing is, like, I felt so much better. I mean, I'll just tell you, like, I felt so much better. Like, all the anxiety that I was smoking weed for is like, it went away after I stopped smoking the stuff. Um, but I mean, it's different for everyone. That's just how I am. Everybody has a different tolerance for all that kind of things. But when the first time I quit drinking, things started going really, really well. And that's when I had my first business, and then things were going well for a while, and then they weren't. And when things started going downhill, the thing is that I didn't have a support system. I didn't have a community. I was still hanging out with the exact same people I'd been hanging out with before. And so when things went downhill, I didn't have anything to do. I didn't know what to do other than to drink. And so that was a negative response, of course, but I didn't know anything else. What happened was I ended up meeting somebody who was in recovery, and they started inviting me to meetings, and I went to 12-step programs. I'm coming up on 5 years this September, which I'm really excited
Keep
about.
coming back. Keep coming back. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, really dear to my heart now.
So, in on retrospect, tell me how you sat up there and started making six figures from, being barely able to pay for the space that you were in during, the time you used to rent from the massage therapy or the physician or however it was.
He is a chiropractor. He's awesome too.
Chiropractor, yes.
Yeah, he's awesome. His name's Dr. Nick at Judah Street Clinic, and he's such a cool. He's like a chiropractor for skaters and stuff. He's really fun. Um, and so, well, what was happening was that I was trying to be the cheapest. I was trying to be the cheapest game in town. I was like trying to be the Walmart of massages, and I was so confused because I still wasn't attracting clients, even though I was going as low as I possibly could go. Now the thing is I didn't. That's not really a strategy. It's not a pricing strategy. I had to really start shifting my money mindset. And I had all of these beliefs around money, such as, money's evil, or money's the root of all evil, or having it's going to make me a bad person. And those are all really common societal beliefs. If somebody has those beliefs, it's not even their fault. These are beliefs that just can happen because we're in a society, and they're normalized. But unless we look at them and decide whether we want to shift them, they're going to continue to be our reality. Having beliefs like this can sabotage an entrepreneur from really reaching their full goals and potential. Now, once I was able to shift those beliefs, because truly, when we're fully funded, when we're thriving, we're able to show up at a full, like 100% level for our clients. We're able to show up at a higher level. We're like, when we're not tired because we're overworking, when we're not stressed about paying the rent. When we're in financial fear, we're stuck in self, and it makes it hard for us to be of service because we're stuck in self-obsession over money and financial struggle. So when we're moving past that and looking at our pricing from a different perspective, and looking at money as an opportunity to be generous, to give more, to be more, to make a bigger impact, then we're able to really show up in our businesses at a higher level too. So I had to start looking at a perspective of the results that my clients get from me, and how I can show up at a higher level, and how I can serve at a higher level if I'm charging more, and look at pricing strategies around discounting, because the amount that I was charging, I couldn't give a discount. That's just what I charged. But I found that I could use discounting as a way to bring people in, and as a way to find referral partners and have them send people to me.
Okay. And where do you see yourself going towards the future?
Well, I love helping healers heal their relationships with money and business. I love helping healers grow their businesses and grow programs, and really stay in alignment with their values and integrity. Because I know from being a healer and from my past, it can be somewhat of a tangled web of what society tells us is okay for us to accept in our future as healers. And I think that when we shift that paradigm, we're able to shift into a more empowered future, where we can when we shift ourselves, and when we shift that business perspective upward, and elevate where we want to be in our businesses and how we want to show up for our clients, and no longer accept the struggle, that's when we're able to truly show up at that next level. I love helping healers show up at the next level in their businesses. I know how much it's changed my life, because I'm trying not to swear. I used to be a panhandler. I used to sleep in the park, and there was a time when I was so surprised that I was a business owner, but then I didn't know what to do. So all I knew to do was just go as low as I could go as far as pricing goes. And I think societally, people expect healers to be cheap or free. There can be a lot of fear of rejection or what people may think. Who is this person? Who do they think they are? Who do they think they are to charge that? The thing is, it is completely okay for a healer to charge what they need to not only survive, but to entirely thrive and to live a healthy and bountiful life where they can be generous, where they can show up in their community and help at a higher level.
You know, as being a woke survivor of homelessness and alcoholism, tell me what, in under 2 minutes, what else you would like to talk about to highlight whatever you need to highlight.
All right. What I'd love to highlight is how you can really set up yourself for success. So once you have your money mindset in place, and this money mindset is really about looking at the negative thoughts that you've thought about money in the past, around what your identity is when it comes to money. What is your relationship with money? What is your relationship with charging? Looking at these and deciding if these are beliefs that are serving you, if these are beliefs that you want to carry into the future, and then decide on some more empowering beliefs, deciding on some more empowering structures for your thought. Because the thoughts that you have about money are going to empower, they're going to empower your emotional state. We're not really talking about how money can be a somatic experience, how money is an emotional experience. When we think about money, we experience an emotion, we experience a feeling inside of our bodies. And that feeling can cause us to contract, or it can cause us to expand and create results in our businesses. And when we create this new feeling, this new emotion inside of ourselves, then we're able to go out, we're able to create action, we're able to create those networking communities and partners. And from there, we're really creating results in our businesses. So once we have our money mindset, it's really about finding out who we're serving. There was a big thing for me where I really wanted to serve everyone. But once I got more clear on who my ideal client is, who I can truly help the most, it was like I became a beacon for them. It made it a lot easier for them to find me and know that I could help them. And from and then moving forward, creating a system, creating a signature system that people can understand, that's easy to talk about and makes it easy for you to talk about and market. Like, say, if you're at a networking event, or if you've met somebody and you want to tell them about what you do, when you have a system, it makes it really easy for you to talk about your offers and how you bring people to the results that they're hoping for. And then, of course, there's pricing. And a lot of people really want to move out of pricing by trading time for money. And instead, they might be wondering how we do that. Well, the thing is people aren't paying for your time. They're paying for the result. Nobody is paying to sit on a flight to Tahiti. They're paying to be in Tahiti. So nobody's paying for the whole process. What they truly want is they want Tahiti. They want the result. And that's what you want to find out, who your ideal client is, and find out what is their paradise. What do they truly want? And once you understand that, it makes it so much easier to communicate with them. It makes it so much easier to create understanding about how what you do can help and serve them. And it makes it easy for you to price your programs in alignment with the results that you're offering and in alignment with your spiritual values, because you know that you're creating real change and real difference in people's lives. And of course, I love networking. I've probably said that word 1,000 times in this interview. It's been one of my favorite ways of creating relationships and meeting people. And I mean, especially moving to a town where I knew 3 people and starting a business, networking was the most important thing that I did in my business. Just feet to pavement, Google Maps, meeting as many people as I could, who I knew I could help their business and they could help mine, and creating those important relationships.
Now, the last question is embedded into seeing as though that you were homeless. What do you think? Because we must give back to the homeless, and there are woke people like you that wants to get out of homelessness and alcoholism or marijuana use or any type of abuse. What have you done to possibly give back? Or if you haven't done that yet, what um what can you do to, what do you feel that the homelessness needs in order to succeed like you did, making six figures?
Oh, that was a long stretch. I mean, that's not something that happened for me like overnight. You know, it took time and it took a lot of decisions and choices. There was more than one person when I used to hop trains and stuff around the country, and more than one person, you know, would hand me money and say, "When you can, you know, pass this on." You know, so I almost cry a little bit. So that's what I do now. That's what I do now. When I see somebody in need, I get to pass it on. And if what the important thing is that we make that choice. You know, we have to make that choice because, um, goodness, you know, nobody's going to be able to make that choice for anyone else. And I can't make that choice for anyone else. We can't change anyone. But it's really important for people to see that once we make that choice, our lives can change in incredible ways. And there's an incredible amount of freedom available to us if we do choose to try something different, if we do choose to try a way that is different. I know for me it took a lot of courage. I was really scared about who I would be. Um, if I would still like myself, if I would still be interesting. It turns out that I like myself a whole lot more, and I'm a much better person, and I'm much happier. I never want to go back to living the way I was. I never want any of that again. The future I have now is so much better, and one of the important mindset things I would love to highlight is that when we're moving in fear of our past, it's like looking in the rear view mirror and we could crash. So, although it can help us for a little while to move forward and be like, okay, well, I never want to be homeless again. I never want to drink alcohol again. These things can be helpful for us, but it's important to really have a vision of a future that you want. And it can start out as a small vision. Maybe somebody just wants to get off the streets. Maybe somebody just wants to start their first business. Maybe somebody just wants to get their kids again. Maybe somebody just wants to hit their first six figures. That, like, there's so many firsts, or there's so many things that can happen when we shift our mindset to start looking towards our dreams, start gearing towards the future, and really creating a dream that gets us mobilized and gets us moving.
Well said. And if you how can the people reach you?
People can reach me on social media at XO Julia Jet. People can also reach me at juliajet.com. And you can find plenty of free resources there and ways to connect with me.
Thank you so much, Miss Julia, for joining my show today. You take care. Stay on the line. Don't hang it up yet.
Okay.
Take care. Be safe. And I'll see you guys another time. Bye.
Thank you, Kimberly.